Sophia. Hi, Gerard. Welcome everyone to this Facebook Live. It's coming direct to you through LinkedIn and Facebook, and possibly you might be backstage with us as well right now. Hi, Craig. For those of you that are new to this, we're going to be online for around 30 minutes. We're going to be diving into the world of wholesale power and member models, chatting to the crew from PowerHub about their current rewards-based crowdfunding campaign. Sophia and Gerard are here to answer your questions and my questions as well, so we'll do a mix of both. If you have any questions, just pop them in the comments. We'll try to answer them as we go or at the end. Also, we love it when you react. So add comments, hearts, thumbs up, whatever you'd like to do. We like to hear feedback from our crowd. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Anna Gunther, and I'm the co-founder of PledgeMe. And we've been around for over 10 years helping Kiwis fund the things they care about, from solid shampoo bars through to some of your favorite beverages, and now power, which is great. But enough about us. Let's hear from our fabulous guests. So over to you, Sophia. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Anna. Thank you for inviting Gerard and I to do the live stream today. It's a new experience for both of us. So we're here today to tell people about our Pledge Me campaign and answer any questions people may have before they decide whether this is something worth supporting or not. This all started with a very simple idea, and that is we buy groceries wholesale. Why not on power? This is actually just driven by, cost of living crisis. We get a winter bill in the summer months. We complain about it, but we don't know what's driving it. Is there a possibility that we might be able to change to a different way to access electricity? Is there a power strategy rather than just a simple power bill? These are some of the assumptions we would like to test. Now, as of today, we just had a look at our campaign page on PledgeMe. We are 37% funded, which is about $241,000. Backed by nearly 100 members or members to be. We're very excited about the achievements we've made so far. Over to you, Gerard.
Thank you, Sophia, and welcome to everybody. Thank you for joining us today. As Sophia said, it's a new experience for us, but it's really great to have people who are interested in what we're doing to hear from us. I've known Sophia for around 10 years. I first met her when we were both working in commercial trust companies with a mutual client, and we've kept in touch over the years. So around about a year ago, we had a cup of coffee, and Sophia was telling me about PowerHub. And in those days, it was based around a battery, essentially UPS with solar attached to it. Which I found was really interesting, kind of not me at that point because I was living in the city. But since that time, I've moved out into a rural area and discovered that, rural areas, power supply is not reliable at times. So, I was just looking at the weather forecast. We're supposed to have gales up around here tonight. So chances are the power's going to go off. So I went back to Sophia and so really keen. I would also like to be one of the first clients if you once you get up and running. And she said, well, that's great, but would love to have you join also as director and as it's turned out CEO to help drive the business forward. So as I think about what PowerHub can do. And we'll talk about it more, but the thinking from Sophia changed from just being a battery and solar to actually being a tier 1 power provider and able to deliver wholesale or close to wholesale pricing for our members. So very exciting. I think the power industry in New Zealand has been tipped towards the major retailers and generators. And what we're doing in PowerHub is a way that we can move away from that and have our members benefit from a cheaper cost of living. And if you do decide to bring in the battery as well, you've then got great reliability and resiliency across the system. So very excited to be part of PowerHub and very excited to be part of this campaign. I think we can, join together on the journey and make a very powerful experience for our members.
Power company making a powerful experience. I love it. Can we just go quickly back to basics, and can you explain how PowerHub will work for its members, what your plans are?
Okay. So first of all, by way of context, so in New Zealand, for over 5 million people, we have one national transmissions company. This is getting high voltage from the generation side to various regions. That's a state-owned enterprise called Transpower. We then also have 29 local distributions companies called EDBs. They are Vector, Orion, Aurora, all doing their very good job taking high voltage into their low voltage network, delivering electricities to your home or your businesses. And then there's metering companies. There are a little bit of electricity authorities levy. There's also the final piece of, by participating in the wholesale market, we are subject to NZX clearing rules. So really, essentially, it boils down to 5 components of how people get charged. Now, what you see on your own power bill is subject to all these charges, and then how retailers package them and structure them. So what we thought was, we're just going to be very open and transparent. The market services costs, which is the network companies, the metering companies, the electricity authorities levies, and NZX charges, we just simply pass them on to our members with no margin, no charges. And we will only put 10% margin on the per kilowatt hours of wholesale price, which is set every 30 minutes on the time that you use electricity. So whatever it is, sometimes off peak, it could be 1 cent for 1,000 kilowatt hours. By the way, kilowatt hours is just units of electricity. 1% on 1 cent is still very, very little. So we just thought, if we can do that, then at least people can see what the real cost of purchase is, and they can then decide on who they want to be with. Now, it is membership-based scheme, so people have the right to evaluate this offer and then decide on the term they want to be a member of. Membership comes in 3 years, 6 years, and 12 years at $320, $575, and $1,055. So for a national average retail customer, usually that means you use 1,000 kilowatt hours a year at home. You would save roughly about $1,000 a year. So then from year 1 onwards, it's savings for you. Gerard has played with our calculator within a Claude. We defined it as a skill. What was your experience with that?
Yeah, well, when we go live with it, you can upload your current power bill. So it'll analyse your current power bill, tell you how much power you've used, and tell you the potential savings you have against a wholesale price. So it's pulling out the wholesale price for each 30 minutes and averaging what your use is. For me, over 5 months, it was, I'm not a big power user, so it was about $320 odd as a saving. That's over summer and autumn, so it's a very kind of low usage for me. But it does show that on average, I think out of those 5 months, PowerHub was always cheaper than the wholesale price. I also did kind of a longer evaluation of the wholesale price of power between May last year and May this year. And the average price per kilowatt hour was just under 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Now, I'm currently with Mercury, and their per kilowatt hour price is 27.9 cents a kilowatt hour plus GST. So it gives you an idea of the difference between what the retailers charge and what wholesale pay. So it's a compelling story.
And so this calculator is something that you're working on now, and what you want to do is provide that to anyone interested in assessing what their current charges are and what they potentially could be using PowerHub. We have a question here from John C. He asks, what is PowerHub's plan for situations like July, August 2024, when there is a prolonged period of significantly higher than average wholesale prices? I understand PowerHub's batteries can help customers ride through shorter term fluctuations in wholesale prices, but I'm more interested in what happens when there's prolonged elevated prices.
I'm glad that you brought this up, John. I'll pay you later. So thank you. So our offer is a tiered approach. First, you become a member. At least you can purchase electricity at the most affordable rate. Of course, then with it comes the wholesale rules and also fluctuation. The home battery, we've designed it to be 15 kilowatt hours per battery, and we intend to run it at least one cycle per day. So that's a full charge and a full release. If there are high volatility within 24 hours, there's no reason why it cannot run more than one cycle. So if the wholesale price is set every 30 minutes, so we can run it 6-8 cycles per day. So that's one way of us solving it. The second approach is that for properties that is suitable, they are welcome to either adopt PowerHub's solution, which is plug and play ground-based solar. So for one set of solar system, comes with 12 panels, and they're 600 watt per panel. Equates to 7.2 kilowatt worth of generation, assuming 1,500 hours of sun to be harvested where you are. That's 10,800 kilowatt hours a year. Remember, New Zealand national average per household consumes 8,000 kilowatt hours a year. So then our hamburger or sandwich approach essentially is encouraging self-generation, self-storage, and self-consumption. And you might say, I've already got solar panels, then that's great, because our battery accepts your existing hardware already. We've done market tests, we've got products running as we speak. So from an installations perspective, existing hardware plugs straight into our Fever One all-in-one model because we're very proud of this. It's our own proprietary R&D. So the battery packs, inverter, and software is actually in a single enclosing IP65, so it can sit outside or inside. So your existing hardware taps into our Fever One, and then the battery is standing in between. So that's how we can solve it, and we're making that available to the market. But just so you know, PowerHub is actually a technology company solving complex energy problems. We actually have about 10 steps. So once you become a member, we've shared with you there are 2 steps or 2 solutions available. We have other solutions that will be targeting and addressing exactly your question of what happens if August 24 occurs again, and also if you live in Wanaka or Queenstown, when there are prolonged foggy winter periods, no solar, not for days, but actually for weeks. How do we solve that? So we've considered these scenarios, and we'll release those solutions in due course.
So maybe taking a step back, do you want to talk about the current crowdfunding campaign and what the $650,000 you're raising is for, what that will do for you?
So this is a rough budget, but the idea is that right now, between Gerard and I and the team of very reputable and capable third-party companies, we could take members in and we can switch you in a manual way. And that's how most companies start off. So what we are envisaging is that we will be inundated with a huge influx, only because just given the current success so far, and also just offline feedback, we want to be able to cater to a large number of inflow if that happens, when that happens, and also streamline the customer journey from making inquiry all the way through to actually get them plugged into PowerHub system. So this campaign is really focused on getting to that magic number of $650,000 by the end of May, to then be spent on developing this software that will bring customer journey in a very integrated way, including billing and also settlement, with NZX through API.
But to be clear, you've done a lot of work, right? Like you have other solutions in the wings, but also you've got the ability to connect in now, right, to the power.
That's correct. Yeah. So if people who are interested could look on Electricity Authority's website under the participant register, PowerHub is already listed as a participant. And as I say, we are familiar with the process. We're guided by a team of very experienced and reputable people. So we could actually switch members in a manual or sort of semi-manual way. The key there is that the industry told us to be viable, first of all, as an electricity retailer, you need scale. 500 members or customers seems to be the right number. So, this is, why we thought, why don't we actually gather enough members to even make a start from a operational commercialization perspective, because otherwise we don't want the members to take too long and consider it, and then there's a gap, but meanwhile we're burning through valuable cash that we don't want to do.
Awesome.
I think it's just to add to that, Anna, there are some big fixed costs. So regardless of whether you have one member or 500 members, you've got the same bonds that you have to post to the New Zealand Stock Exchange or the ASX in terms of running a power company. So as Sophia says, kind of getting to a goal of 500, 600 members gives us the momentum to then take PowerHub forward, and then we can add the batteries on if those members want a battery. They're already here, they're already approved to be connected to the network. We have one working as we speak. That work's been done. We know the solar panels work and we can provide those at a great price. So it's getting that momentum and the mass, and that's why the offer is wholesale plus 10%. So you get your first mover advantage. So we're asking people to come in and join the journey with us and get the wholesale price plus just 10%, which is enough to cover the costs of running the business for 500 people.
What do you think the cost will be in the future?
Well, with technology, you can do a lot more with less people, so the costs don't explode out. 10% is probably the minimum, so we can see that 10% will need to be higher than that going forward. But it's a start, and we can make it work at that level. So which is quite nice. But obviously, as you provide more power, you're more of a risk to the power grid. So you have to post more collateral at that point, which doesn't work for you. It just sits there. Sophia?
That's exactly right. Yes.
Awesome. So Nick has a question. He's very interested in your battery packs, and he wants to know what the upfront cost for a battery pack would be.
Yeah. Hi, Nick. Thanks for dialing in. I know Nick, in person as well. So that's a great question. We talked about the membership cost. Once you're a member, what's available to you is the subscription to our battery plan, which is $149 plus GST per month. For that, PowerHub will maintain the battery both in the physical hardware and also the software sense upgrades, if any. And at some point, the battery will reach its end of life. We will bring it back and we will look after the recycling, which is something very important, and the industry has not turned its mind to it. So recycling panels and recycling batteries require specialist skill. It cannot just be sent to the tip, so to speak. Yeah. So essentially, the other benefit of being on a subscription plan is that we're just at a point where technology is changing so rapidly. Today, for Fever One, we use the battery cell technology, which is LiFePO4, that's lithium iron phosphate. Tomorrow, it could be solid state. The day after, it could be hydrogen. So the fact that without purchasing the physical hardware, but instead you're subscribing to a service, how we deliver this enhancement of electricity so that it's resilient and stable where you live and where you work, it is up to us. PowerHub will take that problem on board or challenge on board, and we will be solving that on your behalf. You just want to pay $149 a month and actually enjoy the benefit of. Then the third step is solar panels. You can purchase 12 panels for 7.2 kilowatt worth of generation for $5,500 plus GST. If you just think about it, $5,500 as a one-off, you get to own this. That gives you 10,800 kilowatt hours a year. So that's way actually more above the average household consumption. Couple years, you've already paid back your initial capital outlay. Solar panels tend to have longevity of 20 to 25 years. So that means you get to enjoy 20 plus years of free electricity on site. This model, in contrast with what's available in the market, $20,000 for someone to give you some panels and install on your roof, payback is 7 years. And if you wanted to have a piece of battery attached to that plan, you're roughly looking at $40,000. So if our starting point was to save money, you've just paid $40,000 to save $50 to $100 a month for the next 10, 20 years. However, remember the battery has a life cycle of, let's say, 6,000 to 8,000 cycles. So at the end of the 10th year, equipment needs to be replaced. So it's almost like you've got to go again. Have you actually saved money, or have you just done a whole lot of work and maybe cost neutral at best? Yeah.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Do we want to go back to the current campaign? You mentioned at the start, but what have you achieved so far?
Gerard, do you have that number?
Yeah, it's 241,000 as at today, which is just incredible. So we're I think 37% of the way to our target of 650, and we're feeling very positive. We've had some very good feedback and very good engagement with people. So hence the live stream to give people a chance to hear from us directly, and we'll start pushing out a bit of more media releases next week to get the momentum going as well. So very pleased with where we are at the moment.
And I think I've told you this before, but what we see is everyone needs a deadline, and 80% of your pledges can come in the final 2 days as people remember, oh yeah, I was going to do that thing. I'll do it now. So you're in a good position right now for sure. Nick just wanted to comment again, or maybe ask a question. So for a business reduction return on investment, it would be even sooner if they got a battery pack. Is that correct?
This is a great question. So we analyzed power bills from a Christchurch-based retirement village. Currently, they pay $5,000 a month. But if they were adopting PowerHub's model without the battery offer, they will end up paying $1,000 for the periods that we analyzed per month. So the savings there is significant. We do have commercial grade battery which is 261 kilowatt hours with a 130 kilowatt inverter. So again, for a commercial setting, whether it's retirement village or multi-res single site multi-residential area, having one or two of the commercial grade battery is definitely the right solution for them. But just by buying wholesale on time of use for that particular site, the savings are 80%.
That's amazing. And this calculator, just for the people that weren't here at the start, do you just want to talk through what you've created, what you're creating?
So this was made possible through AI. Claude is very good at looking at numbers and making conclusions and drawing, making recommendations from that point. We've spent some time with Robin. I'm not sure if he's online today. So he is very good with AI, various agents. He helped us to build this calculator, and we then turned it into a skill. So Gerard and we have Claude on our desktops, and we can then just upload the skill. So for anybody out there who is very interested in having this skill, we're very happy to share. So essentially what that means is, Gerard, do you want to talk about the experience that you had with the skill yesterday?
Yeah, no, it's very easy to operate. So, the tricky part is the wholesale price is told to the market every 30 minutes, but it's at the node or the point at which that wholesale price is delivered. So here, or if I'm on the North Shore of Auckland, it might be the Albany node that is the wholesale price. But of course, people are all over the country. So if you download the wholesale data for the last 12 months, it's 57,000 lines of data that you need to. So what Claude is doing for us is picking off the data, determining where that person is or that house is, what node it's getting wholesale pricing from, and you upload your current bills. It could be 12 months, or however many you want, and it can compare your retail bill for energy uses, electricity uses versus what your wholesale price would have been. And it gives you a recommendation at the end, gives you a nice little printout of whether you would have made money doing wholesale or it would cost you a little bit more. So to the earlier question about what happens over an extended period, it will tell you what happens in those extended periods, but it will tell you across a whole year. So back to my initial kind of point, which was the average price over last year was just under 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So it will give you, it'll also look at, because I get free power days with Mercury, it'll also tell you that you got free power days and that was worth something to you. So consider that when you're doing it. So very powerful. So I think we can either provide it as a skill that you can put into Claude or have it up on our website where you can put your bills in through there as well. There are some assumptions we make there because it is charging per half hour basis. But we just assume that the load is across the day, and that gives you an idea of what you'd pay under a wholesale scheme.
Awesome. I'm conscious of time. We've got about a minute left. So if there's anyone watching this that has a question that they'd like to ask, either ask it directly in LinkedIn or Facebook, or pop it in the private chat if you're in the studio here with us, and I will pass those on. Before any of those questions come through, though, why did you decide to crowdfund, Sophia?
Two reasons. One is that when a company is at a startup stage, it's very difficult to do valuations on the company because it's pre-revenue, pre-funding. Somebody comes along with $1 and can buy the whole company because it's really subjective. But the other reason is that electricity is so close to the community in every one of us, whether it's a household or a business or anything you do, electricity is an input in that process. So if the benefits can be passed, so if what we're trying to do is trying to benefit the end consumers, why not invite them to participate in this journey with us together is really the reasons why we did this.
Awesome. Peter Thompson asked if he could get the skill right away, and I have said he totally can, and that he should email you at info@powerhubgroup.com to grab
No
that.
problem.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we
And
might
we,
try
and we look forward to hearing what the results are.
Yeah. I'd like to keep us to time, but before I start wrapping us up, Sophia, is there any final things that you'd like to say to the people that have attended or might be watching this later?
Well, thank you for attending. Time is valuable, so thanks for your time.
And Gerard, was there anything you would like to add?
No, thank you again. It's been a pleasure, and feel free to get hold of us at info@powerhubgroup.com, and we can answer questions directly as well.
Awesome. So if you haven't already, check out the crowdfunding campaign. We'll pop it again in the comments for this live. They're almost at 40%. So we'd really love to get there by the end of today if we can. And they're almost at 100 people joined. So of a goal of 500, which is amazing. If you have any questions, just email through info@powerhubgroup.com or ping us an email on contact@pledgeme.co.nz. Thanks, everyone. Catch you later.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you all.
Have a good day. Bye.